Okay, so we should be live about now.
Okay.
Great. So lovely, Susan. Thank you for joining me. And it's been a while since I've been live on this channel. Uh, yeah, quite some time actually. A couple of years ago since
Wow.
yeah, I did. We ran a series of podcasts called Voices of the Future. And that was fun. But yeah, so we're back
Yeah.
on, and in that time I've met you and become friends with you, which is lovely to hear about your work. So yeah, it felt rather fitting that you and I should get together and talk about what is going on because there's
Yeah.
some very big things going on. So you are so for those people who don't know and haven't met Susan, Susan is an author, family constellations facilitator, trained rebirther, public speaker, and you've assisted many people to understand a bigger picture of what is taking place in their life and assisting people to move forward to live out their destiny, which, I'd like to talk about that actually. What does that mean to live out your destiny?
Yeah.
And you're a self-published, your first book you self-published, which was An Ordinary Woman's Extraordinary Journey.
It
And
was.
we're going to find out about that extraordinary journey and,
Okay.
and why you refer to yourself as an ordinary woman. That was in 2001. And then you've released a second book since then. When did you release your second book?
10 years ago, I think that was about 2010 or 11. Yeah. And
Yeah.
and that was called New Story for Humanity. That was like when I started using that language. New
Mm,
story. Yeah.
new story. Okay. So for people who don't know you or haven't encountered your work, perhaps you could share how you came to receive the new story for humanity and this profound information that has shaped the trajectory of your life over the past 25 years.
I will, but first of all, I have to mention that beautiful what's behind you because I just feel it's holding the space. I love it. It's
Yes, thank you for raising that. This beautiful image is
yeah.
by Kai. She's a plant medicine woman, shamanic healer, and creator, musician. She does many beautiful things in the world. I met Kai many years ago, and this image behind me, it was an image gifted to me from Kai through like a plant immersion. So I had a session with Kai, and we talked about the thing that I wanted to work through or move through. And she suggested this plant, which I believe is mugwort. I'm just going to get out of the way there so you can.
Yeah, just
And,
magnificent.
and it's a very, it's an image which she has created for me to work with the plant medicine that she chose for me that was suitable for the issue that I was going through at the time. So Kai's work, Seed Star Creations, amazing. Oh, and she also does hand poked tattooing,
Wow.
which is amazing. A beautiful, intimate, personal healing experience if you're interested in getting a design which speaks to you and is crafted with her. So yes, I'm glad you raised it because Kai's work is deeply important to the new
Yeah.
story.
And I just think it's a time when many of us are kind of somehow meeting each other. Like, the people that are aligned to the new story. It's like you and I. A couple of years ago, we didn't know each other, and now I feel very connected to you. And I know that your work personally would be a great. And so I'd like to talk about that after we've done this because there's no coincidence that we met up and you're supporting me to do some videos and some things like that. So, and I know that's part of you, supporting, but I actually think there's a movement happening of people that are aligned to this new story actually finding each other.
Yes,
Mm.
yes, I see that. Yes, yes, and that's happened in the last couple of years in particular
Yeah.
for me. Yeah, there was I think we all went through a culling process
Yeah.
and a reorientating of, well, of course, we were forced inside, and that created the circumstances for us to look more deeply at
Yeah.
ourselves and then when we have emerged and emerging and back out there now, different people have turned up and keep
Yeah.
showing up, and that's a beautiful thing.
yeah, it's part of the process of going forward, I think. You were
Mm.
asking how the new story and what is the new story for me. So the new story, I actually named it a new story when I wrote that second book, New Story for Humanity. But previous to that, it was like 36 years ago. Um, I was personally in a space that did not even know what meditation was. I had two fashion shops, had adorable children, great husband, family, was the strongest value, still is. But, I had all these hopes and dreams and saw my life much different to how it is now. And I went out in nature one day in May, um, 18 and 9, 18, felt like 18, 9, 1989 it was. And it was out to Horsnan's Gully in the Adelaide Hills. The Aboriginals call it the Serpentine Trail, but life took me there, and there's a story around that. But I I took a girl to Adelaide. I live in a small place called Beachport. I was living in Millicent then, and you're in a country town and you always support each other. So I took this girl from Millicent on my way of buying clothes from my fashion shop. And she told me that she was meditating around this ancient site in the Adelaide Hills. Well, I thought she was crazy. I didn't know what meditation was, let alone ancient sites in the Adelaide Hills. So I just agreed with her. And she went off and did her thing. I went and did my shopping for my fashion shops. And on our way home, out of my mouth, I don't know if it was me or something more than me, but I said to her, is this ancient site very far? Within that, we're up heading towards Halsnan's Gully. Now, I did this walk up there, and I actually remember thinking to myself, oh my God, I didn't believe a word she was saying anyway. So we get to this certain area, and she goes, this is it. Honestly, it looked no different from the rest of the area. But I'd had enough. So she goes up, and I decide to sit there. And I'm sitting there, and this stillness, this deep, deep stillness came over me. And then this projection outside of me was like this ancient, ancient man. And he said his name was Anton. And I'm not your teacher. I'm here for the transformation of humanity, this evolution taking place. Well, I didn't know if that was real or not. I'm telling you, I didn't know what meditation was, let alone that. But within a very short time, watts and volts of electricity right through my body, right through my body. By the time I got home from the city to this little town to my husband, I was frightened, had no idea what was happening to him, shared with him what had happened. And it was life changing forever for me and my family, because within an instant, I began to have this knowing in my gut around the evolutionary process for humanity. It was so scary. I thought if I believed this, any of this knowing, I would go insane. I would say it took me 5 years to stabilize it inside myself. And I would say if you believe any of this, Susan, you'll go mad. So it was really scary. But in time, through all our life's experience, we all have the ups and downs. And so my journey was like beginning to understand what was taking place. So if you ask me today, this is what happened. I aligned to this being. My heartbeat had the capacity to align to this being. I had a mother who was gifted in unconditional love. And I feel I was born with this. I feel that unconditional love in my heartbeat aligned to this. And my body was be able to hold the vibration. It was very scary, and I had no idea what was happening to me. My nervous system in overload. I feel now, I talk about the DNA was activating. We have codes within our DNA that have deep memory, and all that was taking place in me, but I had no idea about any of this. So from my journey of those 36 years, I have now come to a place where I hold with great gratitude, love, and a deep thankfulness for what I received. And but that's taken those 36 years to reach that. Um, and on the way, I began to look at it from at the beginning. I looked at it as if we were going to go through. I wonder what my kids were going to go through. I wonder what humanity was going to go through. I was so scared for humanity and the kids because the knowing was that, things were going to change. But in that time of my own journey and transformation, I come to a place that truly, truly feels it's about completion. It's about evolutionary leap for the human race. It's about something so extraordinary, extraordinary opportunities, extraordinary. We have the ability to now open up to a much bigger picture of who we are as a humanity. This is going to open up a new future for our children and the kids of the future. What we're stepping into is not fearful. If we begin to start to understand what we're stepping into is the unknown and is aligned to the biggest systems that we all separated from eons ago.
Mm-hmm.
So what I began to understand as a humanity, we have a history that we don't know anything about.
Mm-hmm.
We separated from this a long, long time ago.
Yes.
And we're now at a time of the returning, the remembering, the awakening. And the other thing I need to put in the space, it's an inside job. This is not outside me. This is inside me. The acceleration of consciousness is not outside, it's inside. The new story birthing through is inside. It's not outside. So over those 36 years, if you had asked me back then, I was full of fear. I was full of the thinking we were going to go through horrific stuff because I had these 3 young kids. Now I feel we're going through some time of extraordinary blessing. I feel the human race is totally blessed as a humanity. And we will begin to understand that as we walk through this unknown pathway. But the other thing I'd like to put in the space, this is bigger than you and me or anyone else. This is a call from evolution. The new story is the consciousness, a deep consciousness in us, and a call from evolution. It's not from our thoughts. Much, much bigger and stronger. It's connected to the electromagnetic force fields, connected to the Mother Earth, connected to our heartbeats. It's an alignment to larger systems. That's why you've got people, connecting to galactic stuff. That's why you've got people connecting to ancient stuff. We're actually connecting, aligning to the bigger systems. And as we journey through, we will begin to understand that's our birthright. That's our history that we've all forgotten. And yeah, so the new story to me is not outside us. The new story is inside us. And we've lived over the last, I would say, 5 or 10 years, where there's been a lot of loud noise around the systems outside us. And once they're distracted, the new story will be here. I think it's opposite. I feel it's opposite through my own lived experience. I feel we're the new story, not those systems. We are the creator of whatever these new systems will come through us. And the journey of opening up to the emerging of this bigger picture is vibrational.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not a thought process. We try to put our thoughts in to understand it. And we need to be able to understand, some of it. But it is not a thought process. It's vibrational frequency, energy, vibrational. And so what we're trying to do here is explain something that belongs to the new, that moves through the wholeness of life, and it's vibrational, and we're trying to put it into the old system so we can understand it. And that's, some of us are being asked to do that. Some of us are being asked to hold it and find some language so others can feel what you're saying. Like, because it's the heartbeat that will remember. So find some words or language that align, and then someone will go, yeah, I feel that, but I've never been able to express it. It's yeah, I can keep going for hours, but let's go back to
No,
you.
I really hear what you're saying around it, it's an inside job, and what you're speaking about is letting go of the monkey mind, which has caused a lot of destruction
Yeah,
in over the last, particularly the last 2,000 years, but a lot much longer than that. You know, we've
yeah,
been in this victim slavery mode for a very long time now, and what strikes me is that yes, we have forgotten that we can be free, but we've forgotten how to be free. We don't know what that looks like. We have all been born, you know, you and me and everyone here living in this kind of 3D timeline. We have been born into a system of time, you know, which is constrictive, which has enforced so many things upon us, and has enabled us to become dependent on other people making decisions for us, and
yeah.
telling us where to go, how to be, what to wear, all of these things. And you might think, oh no, that doesn't happen for me, but you know, that's one of the things that I foreseen is the right
Yes,
word,
yes,
back in 2020, and again, you know, not nothing that profound, was that what is going to be difficult for many people, it's not the crumbling of the systems, it's the how to do the next bit,
yeah.
because we don't have the skill set for the next bit, which is something that we need to completely let go of, and trust in our heart.
In my own journey, the hardest thing is letting go how I saw life.
Mm. Mm.
I remember lying on the beach and my hands out like that, just going, oh my God, everything's opposite.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything's opposite.
yeah.
And how I see life and how I want it.
Mm.
Like I said, this is not how I'd have pictured my life. I had to go through a process of letting go how I wanted it, many tantrums, because I knew what I was being asked to hold was something that most people are not going to understand. It was like I used to say, I'm going out there to tell them the sky's not blue, you know. So it's it's that letting go, surrender, and allowing is the only way through. And the most difficult part is the rights and wrongs and the good and bad of this present world will have nothing to do. That's the bit, will have nothing to do with this new.
Yeah.
And we will hang on tight to our judgments, out the way we want it. Me too, the way we see it, as hard as we can, because it's how we feel the goodness of life and how we believe it is. Well, I'm saying this vibration and leap is much bigger than how we see it. I find that and still do. I still struggle. I still struggle with how I want it, and what's being asked of me. Um, yeah, it's just how it is. And because we are the creator of the systems that we live in, we are the system. We're
Yeah.
not separate. We're not separate. So much easier is to look out there and blame every system that's right and wrong. The hardest work is us, our system. We are being asked to evolve as a human.
Mm.
It's a collective call. So it's the call for humanity returning at this exact time on earth, but it's the pulse is felt in our heartbeat and it's lived through the individual. So it's a collective call lived through the individual. It's got nothing to do with how you see the systems outside. And that's not how, this is how I deal with it. I bow down to every system that was ever created and say thank you. How I teach is that way. Many people find that very difficult because they look at them in a lot of it in disgust, a lot of it in this way, and a lot of it in that way. But the way through is to accept what is.
Yeah, true.
Accept exactly what is and bow down to what is and move through with dignity and grace. Find a place in your heart for a love for all humanity, not the ones you pick out or I pick out, all humanity. Because we've lived in a story we've never understood. And so the way through is gratitude and love, dignity, and all that stuff that opens our human heartbeat.
Mm.
And us, how we see it's going to emerge, we're not the big ones here.
Mm.
That's why I love my constellation, because I've taken my constellation from family constellations, moving it through to responding to this evolutionary call. And I find it's a place where I can assist people to embody everything, give it a voice, give it a place of respect, a place of belonging. Because what happens when you start to feel this big stuff, your whole sense of belonging gets lost, because often your kids mightn't feel it, or grandma mightn't feel it, or your workmates won't feel it. The people you love, absolutely love, have no idea what's happening to you. You don't know, and they certainly don't know. And many people live in a great deal of silence. They are living their life in silence to be able to survive, to be able to live in an ordinary daily life. And yet many are experiencing this emerging of vibration through their body, a merging of a new story, bigger picture through them. Some are connecting to ancient stories. It's like these ancient stories breathing through them. Some are connecting to the mother. She's like inviting them to them. Some have this communication with the mother, some to the galactic world, some to the star world, some to the under the earth. And yet they live in an ordinary relationship. Do you think they're going to tell their partner? Are they going to tell their friends? Are they going? It's like, what extraordinary humans to be able to hold it. They are holding the new story. And I bow down to every single one of them, because it takes the greatest of courage that lives within a human to be able to do that. What I say, extraordinary, because they get up in the morning, no one even knows what's happening to them. Some of them haven't slept that night because the vibration's going through them all night. They could have their stories. When I start talking like this, people start sharing their stories. Extraordinary human beings happening at this time, emerging of this bigger picture, emerging of this new story, all on time for this evolutionary leap. Mm-hmm. And I always, when I'm working, hold a space of silence, also for the ones that are leaving the planet at the moment, that have what they've held to bring it through. I have a friend that's just passed away, and sure, the stuff that she used to hold, none of that's for waste. It all has purpose. And yet it hasn't got a place to land here yet. Mm-hmm. I feel we're part of the generation of landing it. of anchoring it, of
Mm.
embodying it, having the courage to give it a voice. It's scary giving it a voice because you know someone else out there is going to see you talking stuff that's like out there. And so I'm 73 now, and I think age has helped me because I've reached a place where I either am authentically me now or I continue to hide for the rest of my life. Um, and and I feel that's what's being asked for people to be authentically themselves, who, you know,
Mm.
extraordinary humans all over the planet, extraordinary.
Mm.
This new story as it emerging through,
Mm. Mm.
not
So
having a landing place. Yeah,
yeah, good. There's a lot in there. I have a couple of other questions which could help us with this discussion. There's a couple of things you said there, and one of there's something. This wasn't on our question list actually, but I think it's a difficult concept for people, and that is, loving everything. And
mm,
there's a lot of destruction happening in the
yeah,
world,
mm-hmm,
and the light is shining on the darkness,
yeah,
and darkness is being revealed. And there's some particularly, I guess, nasty and cruel things that are happening in the
yeah,
world at the moment.
yeah,
And so, how do we? This is a genuine question.
yeah. It is.
Of
I
which
get asked. I do get asked this question.
yeah, of which I continually practice myself, and this is one of the challenges. How do we love the person who's being cruel to a child?
Exactly.
How do
Yeah,
we do that? Yeah.
and we will find a way through. We
Mm.
will find a way through to do that. We're all only human, and there'll be days when we don't.
Mm.
Um, and there'll be days when you'll hate that person. All I'm saying is evolution is asking us to find a new way,
Mm. Mm.
is what I'm saying. There's no right or wrong way. There's no my way, your way, evolution. But I will say to you, from my perspective, who is asking us to find a new way is the future children,
Yeah.
are the bubbers of the future.
Yeah.
They are the ones looking at my eyes. They are the ones that are going, thank you. Because we're being asked to do it different. We're asked to expand different. We're asked to see it different. A world with a new lens. A world with a new lens. And it is the future generation that are asking that of us, no one else. It's like we're the ancestors of the future generation. We could stay in this cycle. I don't think we can because of the pulse happening to us, but we've been going around like this with that ugly stuff. Can't get out of it because we hate, we love, we separate, we dismantle, we operate in separation. You see, the core that's moving through us is wholeness, no exclusion. I It's not saying what they're doing is great or good. It's asking us to find a new way through, finding a new way through. And the only way through is the higher consciousness of love. And that will hold a place for everyone. And we will learn to evolve, to find places for those people or places for this situation. This could take a while. It's not a, you know.
Yeah. I've just had a thought.
Mm.
I've just had a thought. And what's popping into my mind is there's been a lot of victim consciousness,
Yes,
in
yes,
the last 13,000 years.
yes,
And so when that is no longer, when
yeah.
that frequency is no longer suitable or penetrable, like it can't exist in the higher frequency, well,
Can
then
it?
being a victim won't even be, it won't even be an option
No.
because I get that now. I can see, I've just gotten something. Thank you for that. Yeah, like,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
what happens in my constellation work, I have had this impersonal battle to move from it. I thought I had to leave because constellation work often involves all the trauma of
Mm,
our systems.
mm,
That's what it's about.
mm,
And so when this is, it's like the last few years, I can't stay with the trauma. I cannot stay with the trauma. It, it makes me sick. And I thought, well, do I have to leave constellations? Do I have to find something else? Because I cannot do the classical work just staying in the trauma. Well, that's the same question you're asking in a way. If we're holding high vibration, that we will learn new ways to hold that trauma, or we will learn, we will learn. It'll open up to us in a different way. And the other thing that I'm told many times, well, we can't go forward unless we've healed all our trauma. I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
So what I answer that, 36 years ago, I didn't know what meditation was. I didn't know. And I've just been on a whole journey of healing trauma, healing many things in my family system. We are not in charge of this. We are not the big ones, not going to wait for all our trauma to be fixed. It's not going to wait. It's bigger than us. And it's the other movement that takes place within the process is more than self. A natural movement that takes place is not about me. It's about those future generations. It's not about me and my trauma. It's service for more than self. And this isn't a choice. This is a movement that happens within us. Service of more than self. Yeah. It's a sacred movement. And all what I'm talking about, I know I'm using words, but all of it is movements of vibration, alignment, and just finding words to assist and support it so others can, feel it. It's like, but that is a movement, and that is challenging when that movement comes to you, because you're hanging on of how you want it, how you want it for your kids, how you want it for this and that. Not you've had this plan from the day you've been born. And now you're being asked to let all that go because a movement of more than self is pushing through you.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel it in every cell of your body. And who do you tell? Because who's going to understand? It's like not a personal choice. Who understands that? Because this is vibrational. This is evolutionary leap. This is us evolving as a whole human species. So if I'd had a choice, I said no a million times. And I had to get over myself. I'm not all that important. I mean, I am important, but I had to get over myself. It was what was being asked of me, my destiny and what was being asked of me. And what's being asked of all of us, more than self, more than self. Yeah. And this whole evolution is not going to wait till all the trauma's fixed up.
No. It's moving forward regardless. Mother Earth and the cosmos and the universe is yes, I cottoned onto that a while ago. It's actually always moving forward. It seems like at the moment we've hit the grinding stone, and there's some things that seem like it's taking forever, but it's actually moving forward. Look, I'm just going to move the conversation on a little bit because I have a practical question. We've been talking very esoterically. Yes. And this is one of the challenges of this work, and which you spoke so eloquently about that, about trying to find the words, trying to explain to people, and being a holder of such knowledge, and the privilege of that, and the sacredness of that, the seriousness of that. So many people are struggling right now. Yeah. Anxiety and mental health issues have risen dramatically since 2020, especially in young people. It's not good, and it's getting younger and younger people are feeling anxiety. So how does stepping into a new story for humanity help with this, like on a practical level? Because when someone is depressed, making change is difficult and it often seems impossible. So what are we to do?
I feel, well, we'd all do something different. But for me, I feel all what you describe is a part of the shift. I feel many children at this time do not fit into the system. They've all got different labels and they've all got different things, and they're scared. They don't know where they belong. They think they need to be fixed. Their parents definitely think there's something wrong with their kids. And mental health, I think, is accelerating because I feel this is all a part of it. It's like us. It's a part of the process, the pulse in and out. It's a part, it's how we see it and how we view it, how we want it. Love, safety, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. We're trying to learn and understand what's happening here with you and me and your friend over here. It doesn't work like it used to. I'm not sure what's taking place in here, but you are a magnificent human being. Somehow I'm going to keep you safe.
Yes.
I don't know how this is all working, but to me, this is all part of it.
Yes. Something's coming to mind. And just recently, literally a couple of days ago, I watched a video on the history of mental health, and particularly mental health in a particular state in America, and how mental health was managed. And it showed some footage of institutions and what used to happen for people who are considered, insane or whatever. And, you said something very profound there, simple and profound. There's nothing wrong with you. And I think that what has this, what if anxiety, and the experience of being depressed was a symptom of not being able to live your fullest, best life.
How it is now. What if they're feeling the sadness? What if they're feeling the hate of humanity? What if they're feeling the destruction of humanity?
Or being born into victimhood and being oppressed, and there's so much oppression, and so of course you're going to have some maladaptive behaviors in order to deal with this. Oh, are you still there? You've frozen.
Oh, have I? I'm still here. You're frozen too. Are we still going? It'll pass. Don't know. You're in charge here.
You're still there.
Yeah, I'm still. Do I go out?
That's wonderful. I thought we'd lost each other, and we've come back online. I don't know why my video is not. Oh, there we go. Wow, we're back on. That was such a great conversation we were having.
Yeah. I have a family member, and I've learned a lot. I have learned so much from it because it doesn't fit the mainstream norm of education or any of it. And then my latest communication with him was a week ago.
Yeah.
And I said those words, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
And I'm learning a lot from you.
Yeah.
Just share, let's keep the communication open so we can support you,
And you're talking about love there. You're talking about love and acceptance. And what if what is required, and this is a very tricky, an interesting space in the therapeutic space.
Yeah.
As I work as a counsellor and art therapist, psychotherapist, and what many people need, which is unspoken when in the therapeutic room, is love and
Yeah.
acceptance
Yes.
and care and nurturance. And so, yes, we've known that in the alternative healing fields for a long time, but yet there's lots of people who end up in institutions or the medical model where love is not really, it's not spoken about as a thing.
Yeah.
It's not
We
at all. You are giving a medication, and there you go, off you go. And so when we are in the heart space, I mean, when you meet someone,
yeah.
when you go and see a practitioner of any sorts, even if it's your accountant, when they're in their heart space,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not just taking your money. So what if, we were, are you there? You're right there?
Am I back?
Yeah, you're still here. Yep. Um, what if, we were all operating from this place of love, we're afraid to do that, and so
Yes,
many
we
of
are.
us have been hurt and brokenhearted and manipulated and taken advantage of, and we're tired, but so it takes an effort to go, no, actually, I'm not going to let that past define my future or stop me from stepping into my divinity.
Exactly. And I think as we move forward, we will have a greater understanding of love, the power of it, and what it is.
Mm.
Because it's not a word either, it's vibrational.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
as we begin to learn to hold that in its place of service and sacrifice, because some people, when you're talking about love, they look at it, or if you're talking about alternative stuff, they look at it as fairy, fluffy clouds and all the rest of it.
uh-huh.
I'm talking the deepest work that you're asked, that's the inside job. To me, was the hardest work I'd ever done my whole life.
Sure.
It's asking a lot of you. And so it's not fluffy. And, you know, the
Yeah.
power of love is not this gooey, you know, it, 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 it has the power to hold everything that is excluded within us and in the world in a place of full potential to find its best avenue. You know, the power of love is extraordinary. It's just we have very little understanding of it.
Yes, I agree. We have very
Yeah.
little understanding. It's been so uh what's the word? It's
Labelized,
conditional. Everyone
Yeah.
says, "Oh, I love them unconditionally."
Yeah. And
No.
I think the kids that are coming through that don't fit into the system, I ache for them, but more will arrive because more is going to arrive. That's just how it is. People, the bubbers are going to not fit into the old system. They don't align to it.
Yeah.
It makes them feel sick. It's a bit like me not being able to hold all the trauma anymore, not aligning to it.
Yeah.
And we will have to find ways for them to go forward. It's like they're a part of pushing us. I know, me at my age, I did have point of views, strong point of views with this certain child in our member. Well, they don't exist anymore because he's taught me, you know, it's not how I see it and want it. It's how he sees it and how he needs it and how he wants it. And that's not easy for an adult to let go of. Yeah. Are we back together?
We're here. Yeah, we're here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we should think about wrapping up, and we've been talking for a while now.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's how would
I
we?
would just like to I would just like to say something about you and your work. Could we wrap up
Oh,
with that?
if you want to, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally have loved meeting you. I just aligned to you. So that's what happens.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hand it over to you because I know that you're a counselor. What else do you do? In your daily work of your healing, you've got a place in the city,
Yeah, I do.
haven't you?
Yeah,
Yes.
a
So
little gorgeous, gorgeous little place called Here You
yeah,
Grow, which is where I run my counselling and art therapy practice from. Most recently, the last couple of years, well, it started approximately 12, 14 years ago. I ended up working for an agency and received a scholarship to study a graduate certificate in developmental trauma, which is about childhood trauma. And so essentially what that taught me was about the brain and the impact on development and what happens in the brain and what happens to attachment when there's what happens for children when there's attachment ruptures, which is that first 1,000 days, first 0 to 3 years. And that was illuminating for me, because then I got to see, then I got to understand intellectually, biologically, neurobiologically, kind of some of the things that might have happened for me in my own upbringing. So that was and freeing, I guess, because you go, oh, right, okay, again, nothing's wrong with me, right? Something happened. And so from there, I ended up designing and developing an online learning program, which was about teaching workers about child-focused practice and how to work with families and children and understanding developmental trauma. So that's been an excellent, a kind of stepping stone into my own private practice now. And so the last couple of years, I've been working with integrative psychology, Dr. Trail Dowie and Dr. David Elliott, and they run integrative attachment therapy. And so it's really about working with adults who have experienced attachment trauma in the early years and helping adults repair that work. And it's a evidence-based program, and I guess it's quite unique in the way that it's been designed. And so, yeah, that's the work that I'm doing now. I'm working with adults, and we're doing psychotherapy. And yeah, getting results. So loving doing that. We're running group programs at Here You Grow. We've got a gorgeous little circular economy shop. We've got an art gallery of Stephen Langdon's work. He's an iconic Adelaide artist. So yeah, thank you for asking me about what's been going on. And I've just gone back to study the Masters in Counselling.
Oh yeah, you have.
Yeah, I've just started this week. So it's going to be a busy time for me. So yeah. It's good work. I love being on this end of the work and holding what it means to love and care for people in that therapeutic setting whilst you're going about your work is very important.
We're very blessed, aren't we, to be in that place, in that space. Yeah. Because it fills us up as well. It fills me up when I'm on track.
It does. It's a two-way. It's a two-way process. Yeah, it certainly is.
So thank you very much for holding the space for doing this today.
Yeah, thank you for being willing.
And we'll catch up again soon, hey?
We will catch up again soon. We can we'll put this all over the interwebs, and I'm pretty sure I shared this to your page, so you should be able to share this to your other groups if you want to. All right.
Okay, now. Yeah.
All right. You have a good Sunday.
Yeah, you too.